Good morning, Kai. Can you hear me clear now?
Yes, we hear you
Yes.
very loud and clear. Thank you so much for taking the time so early in the morning to talk to us. And, what's been happening in the United States for us is, it's been escalating. More and more students, more and more colleges are coming forth now with voicing out their opinions. What is your take on this? When did the pro-Palestinian student protests start in Pittsburgh, for instance?
Yeah, the pro-Palestinian protests in Pittsburgh started on Monday, actually, in one of the largest educational building in the United States. It's called Cathedral of Learning. It is functioned as classroom and also as a library of the University of Pittsburgh. But the encampment has been pushed out to the public park of the city of Pittsburgh. So right now, a lot of people, not only students, not only faculty member, not only staff of the University of Pittsburgh, is also joining the protests. A lot of communities, a lot of just people stopping by, showing their support and solidarity of Palestine. And so far, the protest has been going very good. Little to none interruptions happen in Pittsburgh. So that is great to hear.
Yeah, Barli, very good to hear that it's actually somewhat safe, according to your report right now, which is very good. Now, can you tell us also how the elements actually viewing the protest, the students, faculty members, and of course the local communities around?
Yeah, as I mentioned earlier, the protest, because it's right now the encampment is in a public park, so it's not only involving University of Pittsburgh element, but also there are two main universities in Pittsburgh, one being University of Pittsburgh and the other one is Carnegie Mellon University. And a lot of students from both university are showing up to the encampment. They're showing the support, and also the local community is showing up. Yesterday, actually, on Friday, it was such a beautiful day outside in Pittsburgh. It was 23 degrees outside. It was sunny. It was warm. A lot of people just showing up just to, get educated about the situation in Palestine, the genocide that is happening in Palestine right now. A lot of people have donated books, food, drinks, tents as well to show their support. So it's very heartwarming to see a lot of local communities showing up in support of Palestine.
Right, that sounds like a lot of effort that you guys have taken for raising the voices of the Palestinian people. So I was just wondering, there's a lot of demonstrations happening in the U.S. alone already. So in the University of Pittsburgh, which is when you attend, what message are the protesters trying to convey to the public through these sort of demonstrations?
Yeah, I think it's also mentioned earlier in one of your news. It's saying that the full disclosure of all university investment with regard to Palestine. And in University of Pittsburgh, from the endowment of University of Pittsburgh, there are at least $5 billion that are going to invest it. So the students, the movement are demanding a full disclosure of those money. Where are those money going to? And if those money are going to be invested in Israeli, they demand a full divestment from anything. And the divestment is not only related to financial, but also because it's institutional education institution. They also demand a full divestment from educational as well. So no affiliation, no student exchange, no double degree program. And also they demand, specifically in Pittsburgh, they demand a statement coming from the university officials stating that there are genocides happening in Palestine right now. And they demand a statement in written to send to all of our students in University of Pittsburgh.
So, Barli, it's Kai again. I'm listening to the story that you've been conveying and looking at these pictures. It is very different from videos that we have seen circulating in social media from other areas where there has been police resistance. There's been even some, violent resistance or even resistance by the universities themselves. Now, in Pittsburgh, how did the university respond to the demands of the students in Pittsburgh? Because you also have some very specific demands in terms of how the university should communicate the issue or the genocide that is happening in Gaza. So what kind of impact does it have on campus community? Is there a negotiation happening like in Colombia between campus and student organizations?
Yeah, I think the negotiation between the organizer, the university, is kind of like going back and forth these days because first of all, they push us out from the campus property to public property right now. So that's not a good sign to start with. And also, I think the organizer has been communicating with the local city official quite well. So initially, they are given permit to have the encampment up until Friday, which is yesterday, by the city officials. But they negotiated and they got another extension to have the encampment extended up until Monday, which is very good news to hear. So we are gonna have another at least 3 days encampment in public park. So it has a full support of the city of Pittsburgh and the chief of police in Pittsburgh as well. However, from the university, it's not really. It's been going back and forth. That's what I heard so far. But a lot of people showing up. It shows that Pittsburgh can be like seen as an example of any other cities that are having similar protests and movement in their campus as well. Because look, the students, the community, the movement are not violent at all.
Yeah.
The only violence happening only after the police come up, which is weird because look at Pittsburgh. We are so peaceful. There's nothing. It's going very well because the point of the movement is a peaceful protest of solidarity of Palestinian people. So there's no riot or anything at all. So yeah.
Yes, Barli, I think this might be the last question coming from us. Now, do you think the possibilities of the protest might have the influence on the future campus activities? Because we know some of the classes are now going online because of the protests are happening at the moment. But what is your thought on this?
Yeah, so I spoke to one of the professor at the law school yesterday. I met him at the encampment. His name is Professor Spirit. He's been an activist since his young age, and he's teaching about social movement and activism in the U.S. right now. And he told me that the Palestinian movement right now is actually the biggest anti-war movement in the U.S. since the Vietnam War. So none has ever predicted that. A lot of people have been discussing about Palestine this day, and this is the biggest ever anti-war movement after the Vietnam War, and it shows the solidarity of Palestine. So it's showing a very good sign coming from the people, coming from the community, coming from the students of the U.S. The people has been, speaking what they want to be, what the government of the U.S. wants to conduct. So it's very good sign, and Pittsburgh has a quite large Jewish community. A lot of Jewish community has showed to the protest as well. So it's showing that it's not only about religions and whatnot. It's intra religions, intra culture. It's about what is right and wrong. It's about say no to genocide and war. So it's been showing a very good sign in the U.S. society in general.
Barli, I have one last question I wanted to ask you because you are somebody who's currently on campus, seeing this live in action. I want to ask you, according to you now, what do you think is the end goal here, or what is going to be, how is the end of this encampment going to happen? Are the students going to wait until the university finally listens to them, finally finish negotiation? Or how long do you see these protests happening?
Yeah, I was jokingly talking to one of our friends at the camping yesterday. We were talking about, the encampment, the city is going to give us permit for encampment until Monday. But actually, we're going to be here until, at the end of the time, because as long as our demand has not been fulfilled yet, we the students, the people, the community, not only in Pittsburgh, but I believe in all over the U.S., has we're gonna keep demanding our demand, the divestment from the university's money to Israeli institution. And I think it's also worth noting that a lot of political movement also happening in the U.S. And I think the end goal right now is just to show up in solidarity of Palestine every day until there are a shift of positions in the U.S. government, which I don't think likely will happen soon, but we are hopeful of something going to happen in the future, hopefully. Yeah.
Well, Barli, thank you so much for the update, because if I'm looking at the dates, because you've just compared this particular protest this particular protest has been compared to the U.S. anti-Vietnam War movement, which, by the way, started in 1964 and ended in 1973. So that's like 9 years of protesting. But I drew hope sincerely that if this encampment, deadline has already been given to you, that even though campus activities will resume to normal, that all of you will be able to stand tall and be able to voice out whatever your concerns will be. So keep yourself safe. Of course, that's highest priority. So Barli, thank you so much for giving us
Thanks,
the update.
Barli.
Thank you.